Hi there, welcome back. Now, our final guests today both made their names in the 70s, starring in two very different television shows. One battled crime and even more criminal knitwear as one half of the famous cop duo Starsky and Hutch.
The other transfixed a record 26 million viewers as Prue in the controversial 70s drama Bouquet of Barbed Wire. Remember that?
Their latest venture sees them touring as a husband and wife, bent on murder in a new production of the classic suspense thriller Death Trap.
We're delighted to say we've got them under house. Good afternoon. Would you please welcome David Soul and Susan Penhaligon.
Great to meet you. Have a seat on the sofa. Hi, David. Hello. Hi. Death Trap. Now, I've seen the film with Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve.
You've been going on about it all morning, in fact.
And I want to see the play, because if the play has as many twists and turns as the film, then the audience are in for a treat. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's a twisty play. There's no question about that.
Can you give us anything away?
Well, I can tell you what the opening line is. That's about it, because to go beyond that, the character Sidney Brule, who's a playwright, been dried up for a few years, had a big hit 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And nothing since. Is now desperate for something, for a hit. Lives off his wife's money. And he walks on stage and he says, "Death Trap, a thriller in 2 acts. One set, 5 characters. A juicy murder in Act 1, unexpected developments in Act 2. Sound construction, good dialogue, laughs in the right places, highly commercial."
So the audience know what they're in for.
That's, yeah. And then she says, oh, she thinks it's I who've written this play. And of course, I haven't. The play's been written by a young upstart twerp, as he calls him, at a seminar.
Played by the terribly good-looking Gerald Kidd, who used to be in Casualty, by the way.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your character, Susan, does lots of screaming. If it's anything like the film, she screams all the way through it, practically.
I do a lot of screaming, that's right. I do a lot of screaming, a lot of rushing around, but I'm used to those parts, really, so that's all right.
Is it exhausting? Is it very tiring? Because it's quite a draining role, isn't it, David, for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, the play itself is, all of the various elements. It's not just me. It's all of the various elements. It's a very tricky, twisty play, and you kind of get sucked up into the play. You think that you know what's happening, but you don't. And this is what makes it kind of fun, you know. And then all of a sudden, boom, it hits, and then you think, oh, well, I've got that covered. And then something else squeezes out over here. It's a wonderfully written play.
Yeah. It's very funny too, by the way. I really ought to, yeah, we get a lot of.
So how's it been going down with the audiences?
Oh, they love it. They love it. And you know what we're getting, and I don't know if David knows this or not, but we get cheers every night. And, you know, I've been working quite a long time and a lot in the theatre, and that doesn't happen all the time, you know. You often get polite applause or something, but we actually get cheers, don't we?
But do you think those cheers are anything to do with the fact that you, both of you, still have an enormous fan base? They travel everywhere. People who remember Starsky and Hutch, people who remember Bouquet of Barbed Wire, they're with you, and they're probably screaming at the end because it's there.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a response to the play itself, to the work in the play. I do think that it probably helps getting people in the front door, you know. But
yeah, but they've got to enjoy it at the end of the day.
You got to,
despite why they, come in there. So how did you find the experience of theatre? I mean, given that you both were such massive hits in those 2 kind of series, Starsky and Hutch, and somebody's left the mobile phone on, Starsky and Hutch and Bouquet of Barbed Wire, and there were TV dramas, and they were huge. Was it 26 million? I said they were watching Bouquet of Barbed Wire. So.
Is it for me to call?
Yeah.
They want to put in an extra 6 shows, so you're now doing 14 a week. So how does the experience of theatre compare with that?
The experience of theatre? Well, I mean, I was sort of grounded in the theatre anyway. I mean, I went to a British drama school and, you know, a very good one. And we were actually taught for a repertory system in the theatre that doesn't exist now. You know, I mean, I started in 2 weekly rep, you know.
Well, you're learning a play in the afternoon and,
absolutely,
and doing a different play at night.
And finding the props. You know, I've been on the lighting box and the old-fashioned sort. And so I feel that the theatre is my home, really. Although I know I've done a lot of television, so... and that's the great thing I think about working here. I don't know if David agrees with that, is that we do appreciate the theatre here, and there's a lot of theatre around.
Yeah. And what's great is that it's really this play's bringing two 70s icons together, because at the same time, 1976 was when Starsky and Hutch started. 1976 was when Bouquet of Barbed Wire was on television.
Yeah, but I always have a problem with that word icon.
Icon, yes, I do too.
It's like you put somebody in formaldehyde and stick them away on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know, Susan and I have both been in this business 35 years.
Yeah.
You know, you do more than one show.
Yeah.
You're very proud of the work that you've done.
Then, does it?
But I started in theatre back in the early 60s.
Yeah.
You know, this is a lifetime career.
Yeah.
And so this is why, you know, and you make these adjustments, these changes. You go, and it's like climbing mountains, and then you hit valleys, and you climb mountains, you hit valleys. But the thing that, you know, the media basically wants to focus on is Starsky and Hutch. I love Starsky and Hutch, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
But I'm equally as proud of what we're doing together
Of course.
in the moment. You
Yeah.
know, I think, and that's what keeps the theatre and keeps this business so exciting,
Yeah.
is what you're doing now.
Something that's now,
Interesting.
something that's current.
It's now.
It's interesting to use that phrase, mountain valleys, because everybody's lives are like that, aren't they? They're peaks and troughs. That's the way, you know, humanity tends to go. But you know, when you have hit such a high mountain, is there not a temptation at that time, if you cast your mind back to then, to think, this is it, life is just going to be one long mountaintop from here on in?
I don't know. I think I did take what was happening for... I tell you what I did take for granted was the state of British television then, because I did most of my work in television in the 70s, you know, when we had some wonderful writers writing for television, like David Hare and Howard Brenton and, you know, Dennis Potter and Jack Rosenthal. And I do think that that television drama has changed, you know. And when I was working, I kind of took it for granted. Oh yes, there'll be something else there. There'll be something else there, you know, because there did seem to be more drama. I'm sure someone will say that I'm wrong about that.
But there seems to be more about them. I think what's great for you both as well is that we've seen you recently on television. David, I know you've been in Holby City twice, and Susan, we've seen you recently in A Touch of Frost, and actually we've got a little clip now of you with David Jason. Let's have a look at that.
I've promised myself I'm going to slow down
Thank you.
this year. I'm still young enough to want some of the simple pleasures in life. Jack, I don't know whether you like your women to be old-fashioned or not, but would you be offended if I suggested we go to bed? Together, that is. Well, don't go into shock, Jack. I don't make a habit of saying things like that.
I felt really sad when I saw that.
What appeal I have. You see what's happened.
Oh no, you are the eternal temptress and seductress. I mean, there it is.
Never stops.
Yeah.
But when you've had that massive success with those two particular programmes, do you think to yourself, this is as good as it gets? Will I ever have anything as big as this again?
Depends on where you're starting from. If you start from the vantage point of what it's all about is hitting #1, then you're probably in trouble. Yeah. But if you start out with your feet in the ground and having a grounded sort of beginning, it's the value of what you're doing rather than the value of success. Once you get success, you have to do something with it. Sidney has a wonderful line in the play. He says, nothing recedes like success. And that's very true. And as soon as you get that, have that sort of arrogance about success, it's like walking on water. You know, suddenly you're sinking.
Yeah. David, unfortunately we're going to have to end, but I think that is a brilliant note to end on, because I think we are far too focused on the #1, the big success. And as you say there so eloquently, it's the quality of what you do and what you get out of each experience.
And that's for young people and new and talented people everywhere.
Absolutely. We're going to have to go. David and Susan, thank you very much, and we wish you all the luck in the rest of your Well, there you go, career in towards the end. It's all we've got time for today, unfortunately. Gloria will be back tomorrow with all the gossip from this year's Television and Radio Industries Club Awards. And I can tell you in about 5 minutes' time, Gloria doesn't know this, she'll be picking up a very special award which recognises her long-standing contribution to TV and radio. So there you go.
There's hope for us yet.
There's hope for us yet.
See you back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.